everyone. Rockdale County Planning Commission meeting, March 12, 2026 at 6 p.m. Opening of the meeting. We'll call the meeting to order at this time. Okay. The first item on the agenda that we will have is the invocation. So let everyone stand for the invocation.
Let us take a moment to reflect on our purpose here tonight. We gather with a shared commitment to the well-being of our community. May we be granted the wisdom to make just decisions, the courage to act with integrity, and the patience to listen to one another. Let us work together in harmony with a focus on service to all citizens. May our efforts tonight bring peace and progress to Rockdale County. Amen.
Amen. Now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will staff please roll call at this time for a determination of quorum?
Yes. Ernestine Stovall-Goolsby.
Here.
Angelique McClendon.
Here.
Danny Forrester.
Here.
John Lee Peterson Jr.
Here.
Marlicia Yancey.
Here.
Okay.
Okay. A quorum is present. So the next item on the agenda is for the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes that's presented here from our last meeting? Agenda rather. Do I have approval for the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda that's presented to us.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Okay, from the January 8, 2026 Planning Commission meeting. Okay, we need a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Motion for approval of the minutes.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the public hearing rules as stated on the recording. Tonight's agenda includes several public hearings. As a reminder, when speaking, please come to the podium, speak directly into the microphone, and state your name, address for the record. We encourage speakers with similar viewpoints to designate a spokesman. Please direct your comments to the Planning Commission. We ask that speakers remain respectful so that everyone have the opportunity to be heard.
Speaker must sign their name to the appropriate zoning. Each speaker must sign their name to the appropriate zoning case sheet and fill out a public comment card to register your intent to speak prior to the start of this meeting. Each item of business shall be handled in order that it appears on the agenda, unless upon motion of the Planning Commission, the order is changed. A member of the planning staff will present each item to the Planning Commission and will further provide recommendation upon each item of business. The zoning applicant or the agent will state their name and address at the podium and will have 10 minutes in which to make his or her presentation. Any portion of their 10 minutes may be reserved for rebuttal following the opposition to the application. After the applicant's presentation, all registered speakers who wish to speak in favor of the application will then be heard. Prior to speaking upon the item, each registered speaker will state their name and address at the podium. They will also be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Once the applicant has made his or her presentation and the speakers in favor of the application have been heard, the secretary will then call upon the registered speakers in opposition of the application. The opposition shall likewise be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Once the public hearing portion is closed, no other speakers will be heard. As a reminder, speakers are to address the Planning Commission, not the applicant or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers shall be permitted. After all public comments have been heard, the Planning Commission may elect to hold general discussion. The Planning Commission will vote upon a recommendation that will continue forward to the Rockdale County Board of Commissioners public hearings. Each speaker must sign.
Okay. The first item under the new business is item R1, CUP 2025-02, a special request for special use permit to allow an in-home daycare. I'll ask the staff to present the staff report.
Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Ryan Sadler, and I am presenting CUP 2025-02. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow the operation of a family daycare home with at least 3 children, no more than 6 children, within the R1 zoning district. This application has been withdrawn. The applicant was made aware that the HOA does not allow home-based businesses of that nature, so the applicant did withdraw. So I would ask that you accept this withdrawal, and we can move on to the next case.
Okay. So do we need to make a motion to withdraw this?
I make a
Yes.
motion,
Okay.
we withdraw it.
Okay.
Sorry, John, you still have to open the public hearing regardless, so if you just
Okay.
want to open the public hearing and then ask for comments.
Okay. I will now open the public hearing on this particular item. Are there any comments? Anyone wish to speak in favor or opposition?
And nobody signed up.
Nobody signed up? Okay. Seeing that no further speakers, I will close the public hearing. Do we have any discussions on this item? I don't think we do, because it's okay. Do we have a motion on this item?
I make a motion to accept the withdrawal of CUP 2025-02.
Now, second.
Okay. Let's take this to vote. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. Okay. The next 2 items are related requests from Quick Drop Towing and Recovery. Staff will present both items together, but the Planning Commission will vote on each item separately. I'll ask staff to present the staff report.
Okay, so for case number REZ 2025-12 and the Flume, which is the Future Land Use Map Amendment 2025-06, and this is the applicant for the Quick Drop Towing. Again, this applicant, staff recommends deferral of this case to allow additional time for review. The applicant has retained legal counsel to represent them, and staff would like additional time to address the specifications of the property and details of the application with the applicant's attorney. So for these 2 cases, staff recommends deferral for these cases so that we can work towards and work with the attorney as well. Again, the same kind of process will be for like the withdrawal for this deferral as well.
Okay, do we have a public hearing for this here, for any speakers in favor of or opposition of this item?
No.
Okay. Seeing that there are no further speakers, I will close the hearing. we need to motion to defer this item.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we defer the item due to the staff's recommendation.
Okay,
Ms. McClendon, can you please state which item?
Make a motion that we defer items R2 and R3 based on staff's recommendation.
Can we do it together, or you want us to do it separately?
Separately.
we have to do it separately.
Okay.
Make a motion that we defer item R2 based on staff's recommendation.
Second.
Okay, all in favor by saying aye.
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 Nay, opposed? Motion carries for deferment. Next item, R3.
I make a motion that we accept the deferral for R3 FLUM Future Land Use Map 2025-06.
A second.
Okay, let's take it for a vote. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. This motion carries. Okay,
Thank you.
no problem. Okay. The next item on the agenda, the next 4 items are related to the proposed data center campus are requested by MMM Acquisitions LLC. Staff will present the items together, and we will hold one public hearing for all 4 cases. The Planning Commission will take separate votes on each item. I'll ask the staff to present to staff reports.
All right. I'm Bill Spivey. I'm the senior planner. And this is item number 4, which is okay. Rezoning 2025-08 and -11 and Flume 2025-03 and 05. The rezoning request is to rezone 282.15 acres from CRS, which is collaborative residential subdivision, to general commercial, M2, general industrial, to permit the construction of a data center campus consisting of 7 buildings with a total square footage of plus or minus 2.9 million square feet. The future land use map request to amend the future land use map category of the subject properties from low-density residential agriculture and medium-density residential to technology park to permit the construction of a data center campus of approximately 282 acres. At this point, the applicant has requested a deferment of both cases until May of 2026.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no public hearing on this item.
Chairman, yes, we do still have to open the public hearing, and the applicant gets a chance to speak as well if they are here and would like to.
Okay, I'll open up the public hearing at this time for anyone that would like to speak in favor or in opposition of this item.
In favor, we have 1 person signed up, 1 Alvear.
Okay,
No.
there was another one over here. There's 2. Was the 2?
In favor?
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, Dr. Linda Aiken-Jung? No, you're listed on both papers, that's what I was asking. So not in favor, in opposition? Okay, so that was our only speaker. Juan, are you here to speak?
Right here.
There's someone got their hand raised.
We're not to opposition yet, so this is in favor.
This is just in favor.
In favor? Okay. All right, so now we'll move to opposition. So, let's see, I have Dr. Linda Akins-Young signed up in opposition, and you can begin the clock for the 40 minutes.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sign up for this because I was told it was the first.
Ah.
I'm opposed.
Okay.
We still have to hold the public hearing regardless because it's an item on the agenda. So we can. No, they're not here to present tonight because they are requesting a deferral, but we still have to open it up for a public hearing during this process. And then if they are granted the deferral to come back in May, then we'll hold another public hearing at that time where the applicant will be here to present at that time.
Okay, I'll refer to May.
Yeah, that's the wish of the applicant. So as long as that's the Planning Commission's recommendation, and then the Board of Commissioners will receive that recommendation at the second read on April 14th. And at that time, they'll make the decision if they'll allow the referral back to Planning Commission for the May PC. But they get to make that decision at the second read. So you can also come to the second read to make public comment at that time.
So if we're not signed up, we can't make any public comment today?
You can. You still just have to sign up. If you'd like to.
I would be
Yeah, we have this.
Do we know why,
If you want to pass that, they just need to sign up.
is there a reason for the deferral?
The applicant has some more stuff they need to do at our request.
Can I ask a question too? Will the applicant be able to hear, since this is recorded, does he has the option to hear what's being said today?
Yeah, and they had the option to be here too, so.
Okay,
Yes.
but they decided not, okay.
So to make this clear, they're speaking on R4 and R5 only, correct?
No, this is for R5, R4, R5, R6, and R7. They have
R7.
4 applications in
Right.
for rezoning in Flume for a total of approximately 283 acres.
Okay, so all.
Yeah, it just was 2 different application processes because of the acreage, or the different times that they send in their applications.
But we are voting separate on all 4 items.
I'm sorry?
We are voting separate on all 4
On
items.
each item, you still
On
have
each
to
item.
vote separately to
Okay.
recommend deferral, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's okay, we'll get this.
Clarifying question?
Just for this. This is specifically for or against the items R4, R5, R6, and R7.
Okay. All right, you, go ahead. This is 4.
No,
Or
in opposition.
opposition. Okay,
Opposition.
thank you. Okay.
Hi. Good evening, council members. Please forgive me. This is my first time doing something like this and speaking in public in this capacity, so please give me some grace. I've also got it written down so I don't forget what I was intending to say. So, my name is Amanda Kirkland, and I am here in the capacity of concerned Rockdale County resident. Over the last few months, I've been attempting to closely follow the developments of these data centers in our area with great concern. Previously rezoned projects, such as the 72-acre DC Blocks data center site that neighbors this project, have been approved for rezoning with very little input from the public. So I'm pleased to have the opportunity to speak with you all tonight. I, as well as many of my fellow residents, have quite a few questions and concerns about the impact of data centers on our community that I believe deserve clear answers from independent sources. To date, it seems that our council has been satisfied with having our questions responded to by the developers themselves, their lawyers, their public relations team, and their marketing people of these multi-million-dollar corporations. And respectfully, I find that unacceptable. Tonight, I am formally requesting that this council place a moratorium on rezoning approvals for any data center project to allow time to study and update zoning codes to address the specific realities of the data center industry and its impact on our community. In January, our neighbors in DeKalb County passed an amendment to their zoning regulations called the DeKalb County Data Center Text Amendment. Its purpose being to ensure that the significant land, energy, and water consumption by these facilities does not negatively impact the community. Their staff conducted extensive research into data centers and held discussions with community partners to find a balance between economic development and the welfare of the community. Judging by the turnout tonight and response in the community in general to what is happening with data centers, it's clear to me that as our residents learn more about these data centers, we have valid questions and concerns about the impact of these developments, not only on property values, access to clean water, noise and light pollution, but we also have concerns about transparencies about what tax incentives these companies are receiving in relation to their unknown longevity. So, in summary, I'm asking that the council consider a moratorium on any rezoning decisions until such questions can be addressed with the appropriate amendments to our zoning ordinances so as to address the specific issues associated with data center developments in our community. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, that was the only opposition to the...
No, we
There's more? Okay.
Linda Akins-Young, did you still want to speak, or you'll save your comments, you said?
I'll say.
Okay. William Stanley Lee? Okay, you can come up to the podium. Oh, save it, I'm sorry. I thought you said say. Amanda Kirkland? Oh, that was you. Sorry, Amanda. Oh.
Arnold? Oh, that.
Okay.
My name is Carl Blasky. I live in Lake Capri Estates. My only real question about this thing, and there should be more study about it, these data centers take a huge amount of electricity. Our infrastructure is pushed the capability at that, especially the electricity. There needs to be a lot more study before we put something like this in of how our infrastructure is going to do it and what it's going to do to the effect the pricing of electricity in this county. And there just needs to be more study about electricity use. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
We had one more person signed up. Oh, come on, sir. I apologize. I couldn't read your name properly, so if you'd like to state it for the record.
Yes, I have one question. Are we speaking on the deferral or the issue itself?
Either. Mm-hmm.
Evening, everyone. My name is Paul Stalkup. I live at 2066 Monterey Drive here in Rockdale County. That's in Lake Capri. I have some questions and some input. The initial question I would have regarding the underlying request for approval by the MMM LLC is what, if any, tax breaks have been given to this corporation? And if there have been any, I'd like to know why. my understanding is that once the construction is completed, if the request is approved, is that there will be very few people working at the establishment. So during construction, obviously, there will be quite a few people, but based upon my readings and understanding of these data centers, it takes very few people to run them once they're up and running. The one issue initially that I would have would be the water that these places need to run. Rockdale County Water has a maximum production of 22 million gallons a day. The average is 8 to 9 million gallons a day. And the peak use has been 12 million gallons. The average resident uses 51 to 70 gallons, and this is all based on Rockdale County Water. We currently have a population of 100,000 people. If you multiply that by the 50 gallons a day, the minimum, we're talking 5 million gallons a day. I do not know how many megawatts that the data center is going to produce. I don't know if the county commission knows. I don't know if the planning commission knows. But at the very minimum data center use is 15 megawatts, which would equal 360,000 gallons of water every day. If you go up to 100 megawatts, that's 500,000 gallons a day. We're talking now about a couple of thousand households. I do not know how much water usage has been requested or anticipated by MMM LLC. Additionally, I do not know, and I would like the Planning Commission to let the people of Rockdale County know, how much electricity this place is going to use. They require a significant amount of electricity, and based upon prior experience of the data centers around the country, electricity rates and bills for residents increase significantly based upon the usage of the data centers. I know it's bad to assume, but I assume that the battery energy storage system, which is on for today but not at this point, is related to the data center. And I'll get to that, I guess, when I speak on the battery energy storage system. We don't need this. One of them, as far as I'm aware, slipped by, the one that's on Farmer Road now. I know nothing about them. How much water they use, how much electricity they use, how many people they employ, what safety they have. Nothing. But it's open. I guess it's running now, as far as I'm aware. And I guess I'll reserve the rest of my time for rebuttal if it's needed. And we're also going to have something on the battery system, right? Okay. I'll reserve that for the battery system. I'll just stay back here. May I stay back here rather than bothering all those people?
Oh, it's okay, yeah.
Thank you.
We do have one comment.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you just want to, you do have one comment that was sent in by email, and so the commission has that comment. Chairman, you can read that comment or just state the name for the record in opposition.
Okay, I'll just state the name for opposition. It was a data center, the one on the Data Center Coalition.
No, the one that is from M.E. Shepherd.
M.E. Shepherd, okay. Okay. M.E. Shepherd to the Planning Commission. And basically, this, for the record, was in opposition. And it was M.E. Shepherd. Okay.
And she's located on Lake Rockaway Road, for the record. Okay. So if no more comment, you can close the public hearing and make a motion.
Okay.
Chairman Peterson, before you go into your motion, just one clarification for the public. And so the Board of Commissioners did pass and adopt a moratorium on data centers that was approved on January 24th, and that moratorium extends until July 13th of 2026. So during that time period, we've been tasked to explore the issue, gather information, find out about best management practices, and make that a part of our UDO update as a text amendment to the code.
Okay.
Did you want to make
You want
comment
to
during the
comment?
public hearing?
I just want to make a comment.
Okay, are you signed up? We just need you to sign up and state your name and your address for the record during the public hearing, but you can, yeah.
That's good that we have a moratorium. I would request that some of the people
Excuse me,
that,
could you state your name?
my name is
Address.
Ellen Jacquez Lee.
Okay.
I live at 1848 Farmer Road, Conyers, Georgia.
Thank you.
I would like to ask that, in all due respect, that you come out to those people that live on Farmer Road, that live beside that data center, and ask us questions. Don't go out and see what's going on in other states. Find out what's going on right here in Conyers, Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, seeing no further speakers, I will close the public hearing at this time. We have any discussion on this item, for those items for the deferment? If not, we'll go ahead and vote on those items.
I just wanted to say this real quick. I don't know if the audience knows it's clear because we said we have moratorium that's in place right now, but I just would like if you guys state as to why we're having these on the record is because the applicant was already, as it was explained to me, these applications was already pending. So that's why we had to, I'm not sure if the audience knows that as to why we're.
Correct, yes. So
Okay.
the reason these 4 applications are on the agenda, they were submitted before the moratorium was adopted by the Board of Commissioners. And so it allows for these applications to proceed with only the rezoning application process and the future land use amendment process. The moratorium does not allow for any building permits, any land disturbance permits, or any other approvals, or for us to accept any other applications starting January 24th, 2026. So they're allowed to proceed with this process, but they won't be able to go beyond this point until the moratorium expires.
So they can still be approved for rezoning.
Yes, this process, yes, ma'am.
Okay. If there's no further comments on this item, we'll move this to a vote. The first item is R4. We need a motion for deferment of this item.
I move to be defer item R4 REZ 2025-08 as requested.
I second.
Okay. All in favor is aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries for the deferment. The next item, item R5.
I make a motion that we defer our item R5 FLUM 2025-03.
A second. A second, sorry.
Okay. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carried for R5 carried for deferment. Next item, R6.
I make a motion that we defer item R6 REZ 2025-11.
Second.
Okay. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Deferment carried on item R6. Next item, R7.
I move item R7 FLUM 2025-05 be deferred as requested.
Second.
Okay. All in favor state by saying aye for this deferment.
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries for deferment. Okay. Now, I need clarification on REZ 2025-8. On that particular item, was that part of this?
Yes.
This was part of it, so we need to vote on this one, make a motion on this one also then.
No, this is
That
separate.
was the first one you made a motion
Okay,
on.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move to the next item on the agenda, R8. Okay. On R8 on the agenda, that was for the request by Zorel LLC to rezone one parcel totaling 49 acres located at 2002 Rockbridge Road, correct? For a single-family residential.
Okay, this case number is REZ 2025-13 and future land use map amendment 2025-07. The address is 2002 Northwest Rockbridge Road. Tax parcel ID is 021-001-0008. The site area is 48.48 acres. The current zoning is R1, single family residential. The existing conditions, the proposed site is undeveloped except for a Georgia Power utility easement running diagonally across the property. The applicant is requesting to rezone from R1 to M2, which is general industrial, to permit the construction of a battery energy storage system, or as we call it, a BESS. And the future land use request is to amend the future land use map from medium density residential to technology park to permit the construction of the Panola Woods battery energy storage system on 48.48 acres. All right. Oops, sorry. Already covered this? Okay. The subject site is 48.48 acres with approximately 548 feet of road frontage along Northwest Rockbridge Road. The site is undeveloped and forested except for the Georgia Power easement that cuts across the property. This is the zoning map. As you can see, it's surrounded by R1. Approximately 7 acres, or 14% of the proposed 48.48 acre site shall be developed. The remaining approximately 41 acres is staying undeveloped and forested and could be utilized for hiking trails, dog cart, or other passive eco-friendly uses. Measured from east to west, the proposed site is approximately 3,500 feet wide, or 0.67 miles. Measured from north to south, the proposed site is approximately 3,000 feet, or 0.57 miles. The proposed site is, as we know, 48.48 acres, and the BESS will use a total of 14% or 7 acres of the site. The applicant is requesting a future land use designation of Technology Park, which is more in line with the current data center campus under construction to the south and the Rock Forge site, which is east of this site. It's not strong enough. Sorry. The subject site currently has a future land use designation of medium density residential and is surrounded by properties with similar future land use designations, except to the south, which is designated as office institutional and used as a data center. That's DC Blocks, the one that's currently under construction. And to the east of the property is designated medium density residential, but the property is currently a Georgia Power substation, which is allowed. Additionally, the amendment to the future land use plan supports various components of the 2023 comprehensive plan, including economic development, preserves natural resources, and the future land use designation of technology park, which encourages data processing and those uses. This is the site plan. Treaty Oaks will discuss this further with everyone. In summary, the applicant is requesting to rezone 48.48 acres from single-family residential to general industrial to permit the construction of a battery energy storage system, or BESS. Additionally, the applicant is requesting to amend the future land use map from medium-density residential to technology park. Recommendations is based on staff's evaluation of the request. The Department of Planning and Development is not making a recommendation to the applicant's request to amend the future land use map designation of the subject properties from medium density residential to technology park until the concerns of Rockdale County Fire Rescue have been addressed. That's the future land use. Next, for the rezoning, after an evaluation of the current zoning standards, the Department of Planning and Development is not making a recommendation at this time for the applicant's request to rezone the subject property from R1 to general industrial until it takes care of its issues with the fire department. Now, and that's it. Nick, your turn.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Nick Lynn. I'm Assistant Chief of Fire Rescue. I serve as Hemmings Fire Marshal. So I was asked to speak on this tonight due to the uniqueness of this project. Speak a little louder? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Again, like many other people in the audience, I do not have good public speaking in my portfolio, so tonight is training as well. So the BESS battery energy storage system. Again, we talked about the purpose of this briefing is to give y'all a little bit of history of where we are and present what the code has came to today. Why safety matters, and again, we're going to focus on outdoor installations. We have some examples in here for indoor, but the proposed property is for outdoor use only. So what is the BESS? It's a battery energy storage system. It's a large-scale lithium-ion containers, and it's used for grid stability, peak shaving, and renewables. And I'm actually going to back up just 1 minute. All the pictures in here have no relation to the proposed project. They're just general pictures off the internet. I do want to state that the Fire Marshal's Office does not oppose or in favor of any project. All we are is make sure that it meets the minimum standards set forth by the Georgia Fire Commissioner. Okay. And then continuing on, we talked about what is the BESS. All right, so potential for fire and health risk. Again, these have a history of thermal runaway events, so they have possible release of toxic gases and particulates, and potential community responder exposure. So these, every fire has potential for this. This specific build has a little bit more due to the container of the batteries in it, but every structure fire, every car fire is going to release the same thing. So thermal runaway. So BESS thermal runaway is a dangerous self-sustaining chain reaction where a battery cell overheats, rapidly releasing energy, causing it to ignite, spread fire heat to adjacent cells in a cascading domino-like effect. The uncontrolled heat buildup, often triggered by internal faults, overcharging or damage, can create immense temperatures, release toxic gases, and fluoride create fires difficult to extinguish. Again, as you can see, the fire actually starts in the middle of it, and it spreads out. So once it starts, there's no way to really contain it, so it makes it difficult to extinguish until it starts getting to the exterior cells. We have flaming versus non-flaming events. So the non-flaming events can have a lower plume buoyancy and possible longer duration exposure concern. Again, until the fire gives it the heat to push it up, the lower it stays. Some of the key hazards identified, you can see, is the hydrogen fluoride, the hydrogen chloride, nitrogen, the particulate metals, the lithium, the nickel, and then all elements, including metals, can be considered toxic. Again, these are no normal. The technology that they're using, we'll get to that slide in a second, all these will not be found in the battery. It's only some of them. So for the community impact, you have the non-flaming scenarios produce the largest distances. So hundreds of meters possible. This is determined by the wind, terrain, weather, that kind of stuff, depends on where it pushes it. And then the wind speed and duration are the key drivers that move it around. So. Environmental impacts, air monitoring for gases is something we'll do. Evaluation of potential soil or surface contamination. And then assessment of fire, water, runoff, or suppression is used. If we do extinguishment, which a lot of them don't recommend, they say let it burn to completion. But if we do use suppression effort, we'll have to check for that. This is a couple of history. It's the McMicken Energy Storage Facility. This was a 2019 lithium-ion BESS incident resulted in delayed defragration event. Thermal runaway initiated internally without external fire exposure. Flammable gas communication led to explosion upon firefighter entry. Multiple firefighters were injured. Key lesson, these build-up gas hazard persists and ignition can be delayed. And then the fire marshal takeaway was interior operations present unacceptable risk. Again, they're building these outdoors. There's no way to enter this facility. These are all outdoor containers. The Moss Landing Energy Storage Facility, this was in California, multiple BESS fire events with multi-day burn duration. Fire spread beyond initial units despite separation distances. Repeated reignition observed after apparent fire control. And then they had large-scale evacuation due to toxic smoke concern. Again, this was a very large facility. It was indoors, and it was flaming event. And the key fire marshal separation of water supply must exceed minimums. So this leads us into the testing that has been created. So these are past events that led to the creation of the new codes, current codes that we follow and adopt. So the UL 9540A is the ANSI Canadian UL standard test method for evaluating the fire and explosion risk from thermal runaway and battery energy storage systems. It provides all the data we need to make sure that these are meeting the safety standards built for the community. And they are presenting that all their containers meet the UL 9540A. NFPA 855, this is the National Firefighter Protection Association. They set all the standards for us. These are formed by committees. Nobody's paid for this committee. It's all people from the general public, the vendors, the builders. They all come together. So it's a standard for the installation and storage energy systems. Provides mandatory requirements for safety designing. These are the codes we follow when doing plan review for these types of buildings. NFPA 855 and the IFC, fire origin and thermal runaway initiation. Again, this lists and tests the ESS configuration required. Make sure the propagation and fire behavior. It has things in there for explosion control and for flammable gas accumulation. Continuing on, it talks about the fire growth, heat release, and escalation. Separation protection based, protection based on realistic fire behavior. It's suppression is required but not assumed to extinguish. Again, difficult to extinguish. Then this goes into the NFPA 855, 68, and 69, along with IFC. The gas generation, explosion, overpressure, talks about gas detection prior to ignition, ventilation to prevent gas accumulation, explosion control when credible, deflagration bending required, and emergency responder signage. Again, these are all the codes we have to follow to make sure they're meeting the standard. It also talks about separation distances. They can only be reduced when they meet the 9540A test, prevent cascading failures, and continuing on, community and life safety impact. So exposure and public separation, it talks about public safety coordination, property line and public way separation, and control areas. So suppression reality, what water does. Again, the first one is fire suppression required. Sometimes it's not. They recommend us just take a defensive tactic, stand back, and let it burn to completion. The NFPA 855 says water cools exposures. It does not stop the runaway. We cannot stop that. It's going to go till it extinguishes itself. Extended water supply required. And then what we've learned from post-incidents is it can take tens of thousands of gallons, and reignition is common during the thermal runaway. So 855, firefighter safety for us, it requires them to have fire department communication or coordination. The emergency response plan must be realistic to tactics. It requires emergency planning for us, firefighter safety is addressed. And again, this was post-incident from the surprise and McMicken explosion and gas hazards. This is where these codes originated. Again, emergency response planning, site-specific. It touches on the fire, explosion, gas, and reignition addresses. And then it has to have specific planning with us. So the lithium ion phosphate, this is the technology they are presenting in their build. It's a safer battery technology versus the older. It's newer. They're using it newer. It's probably 20 years old, but they've started using it in the last 5 to 10 years. So it's a safer, long-lasting, and cost-effective lithium-ion battery chemistry using iron phosphate. They have a lower energy density and other lithium types, but offer greater durability and safer by resisting overheating. The key difference between the older NMCs and NCA cells, they have the older ones had a much higher thermal runaway, no oxygen release, lower heat release rate, and then they greatly reduced the explosion potential. So the lessons learned, so post-incident codes follow incidents. They do not prevent them. We've learned a great deal from the previous fires we've had, and then code compliance does not equal the risk elimination. Okay? Question?
I do. I just have one in regards to the runaway. Just my own knowledge. I just want to know.
Yes, ma'am.
Does it jump from container to container, or is it just burn within the unit that the cell is in?
So if the fire propagates and gets into the next container, it will continue to burn to that.
In the same matter, from inside
It'll
to
keep
inside the
cascading.
cell. And
Yes.
then, okay.
Yes.
That's all. I needed to understand that piece. Okay.
I have a question too, because they expressed that they weren't going to be utilizing the entire acreage. They're only going to use like 15% of the amount of acreage that they have there, if I'm recalling it correctly.
7 acres, I think.
It was 14.
14 acres.
What? So, if it is the remaining acreage, since it's all this contamination, or it could be contaminated, could be have runaway, and they say, oh, we're going to use it for dog parks, we're going to be utilizing for other things, people can go on walking trails. Is that a safe environment? I'm just asking, is that a safe environment being that close to a battery operation? I mean, I just, like you said, I just want to know from my knowledge, how safe is that if you walking your dog, you go on that walking trail daily that close to that battery facility,
Unfortunately, I can't answer that because it all depends on conditions, runoff, how big the fire is, if it's a non-flaming event, flaming event. There's lots of variables for me to be able to give a definitive answer whether it would be safe or not.
if it doesn't catch fires at all, then it's just, the facility is there, and the community decides to utilize it as they open it up to the community. Would that be a threat to the people utilizing it for walking their dogs, going or walking every day? I'm just.
I don't have the knowledge in that expert.
But that's because one of the, so I think that's one of the questions that need to be addressed.
Yes, ma'am.
So I guess on that note, would there be a need, and I don't know if this is a question for you, but would there be a need to evaluate what she's asking upon the use of that? So I think all of that, it could be used for, walking trails and things. Those are like hypothetical type things, but if it comes to fruition, does that have to be evaluated? Does the safety piece that she mentions, does it then have to be evaluated? Or is there a way to do that?
I'm unsure. We look at the codes and the safety of the structure itself. We don't evaluate the environmental around it.
Okay. And thank you for educating us on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're going back, we're to just reiterate, we are discussing on the rezoning of this particular parcel of a total of 49 acres. So that's what we are discussing and what's germane to here, to this. So are there any further discussions on this? Any further input do you have?
Do you see any similarities from this facility as the biolab facility? Is it any similarities how this could catch on fire, this could potentially impact the community? It could, I mean, does this have any relation? Because biolab just left the community. So I'm like, does this facility could it do the same thing? Could it have the same impact in case a fire takes place?
It all depends on how the fire grows and if it spreads to other containers. The codes try to limit that as much as possible. Now, biolab was different because of the type of material and the quantity and the indoor storage of what it had. So you can't really compare the two.
Okay, can't compare the two.
No.
Okay, because it's close to this. It seems like it's just, and I don't want to use this word, but it's close, and they just got that type of facility out of the community, and you putting the same facility back in the community is concerning. But I know that's not your question, but that's just questions that I would like to ask the fire department. Is there any what's the potential risk is what I'm clearly want to see of putting it there, and I think the community is asking the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any more? Okay, so at this particular time, I would like to, on these two items, we've given the staff report on those items, and you commented on these items. If there's no more questions, we will go ahead and I would like to now open this.
We won't open the public hearing yet.
Okay.
The applicant would like to respond, so they will have time up on the podium as well.
Okay.
And the applicant is here.
The applicant is here. Okay,
Yes.
so thank you. Okay, so at this time, we'll ask for the applicant to speak. If you come.
Just quickly, do we get 10 or 20 for the two items?
10.
10.
10 minutes.
All right, just quick. Well, thanks for having me. My name's Patrick Duffy. I work at Treaty Oak Clean Energy. Just thank you for the opportunity to address you all. I do have some team members with me. These are internal experts on our team for battery energy storage systems, our third-party advisor, Fire Risk Alliance. We also have our attorney from Troutman Pepper and our environmental consultant. So I appreciate all of the comments, but we are very prepared to answer any questions that staff has. But if we can move on to my opening remarks, because I only have 10 minutes, that'd be great. I'd first like to show you a visual overview of the video that describes our battery energy storage project, where it's located, what these containers look like, the NFPA standards that the fire marshal alluded to. So if we could start the video, that would be great.
In a fast-growing region like Rockdale County, Georgia, energy reliability matters. The Panola Grove project will help safely offset rising energy needs in Georgia. Panola Grove is a battery energy storage system, or BESS. Think of it as a large-scale backup battery for the power grid. It stores electricity when demand is low and releases it when demand spikes, like during extreme heat or unexpected outages, helping to provide stable, reliable power supply for places such as homes, hospitals, schools, and businesses. This site was chosen carefully. It sits in close proximity to existing grid infrastructure, minimizing the need for long, high-voltage transmission lines. The area has been studied for environmental impact, and the project footprint will use only a portion of the land. The battery energy storage system is made up of a group of modular containers, similar to storage units. Inside are lithium iron phosphate batteries, a safer chemistry than other lithium-ion technologies. These units are stationary, securely enclosed, and equipped with robust safety systems in each unit. Safety is a central part of the Panola Grove project design. In the rare case of an incident, the system is built to contain and manage it within a single unit, avoiding broader risk. We also understand that safety is front of mind for many residents, particularly after the recent chemical fires in the region. A chemical plant typically has stockpiles of raw chemicals that it must handle, contain, and transport.
You want to restart Is my time still going?
In a fast-growing region like
we can
Rockdale,
reset.
Georgia, energy reliability matters. The Panola Grove project will help safely offset rising energy needs in Georgia. Panola Grove is a battery energy storage system, or BESS. Think of it as a large-scale backup battery for the power grid. It stores electricity when demand is low and releases it when demand spikes, like during extreme heat or unexpected outages, helping to provide stable, reliable power supply for places such as homes, hospitals, schools, and businesses. This site was chosen carefully. It sits in close proximity to existing grid infrastructure, minimizing the need for long, high-voltage transmission lines. The area has been studied for environmental impact, and the project footprint will use only a portion of the land. The battery energy storage system is made up of a group of modular containers, similar to storage units. Inside are lithium iron phosphate batteries, a safer chemistry than other lithium-ion technologies. These units are stationary, securely enclosed, and equipped with robust safety systems in each unit. Safety is a central part of the Panola Grove project design. In the rare case of an incident, the system is built to contain and manage it within a single unit, avoiding broader risk. We also understand that safety is front of mind for many residents, particularly after the recent chemical fires in the region. A chemical plant typically has stockpiles of raw chemicals that it must handle, contain, and transport dangerous substances as part of daily operations. At a BESS facility, the only product managed is the electricity itself as the site charges and discharges. There are no raw hazardous chemical stockpiles on site. As part of the project's safety measures, the facility includes 24/7 remote monitoring, gas and thermal sensors, and automated shutdown systems that activate well before issues can escalate. Most minor issues can be handled by these automated systems. As part of project design, we create a comprehensive safety plan that includes training and coordination with local first responders. In addition to remote monitoring 24/7 by trained external personnel, we also work closely with local fire departments to ensure emergency plans are well coordinated and response efforts are swift and effective. This collaboration will continue through construction, commissioning, and operation, ensuring the facility is operated with high safety standards. This project brings local construction jobs, significant long-term tax revenue, and open space. As a mature and proven technology, battery storage is now operating safely at hundreds of sites across the U.S., with standards that reflect lessons learned over the last decade. Treaty Oak Clean Energy, LLC, is a long-term owner and operator. We are committed to being good neighbors, investing in the community from the project's inception and throughout the facility's life cycle.
Thank you. I'd like to continue with my remarks. I hope that video provided a bit more context of the battery energy storage system. Before I go further, safety is the top priority for this project, and us being thoughtful developers and designing these using every safety NFPA mechanism is at the top of our mind. So before I continue, I just want to acknowledge the presentation you heard from Assistant Chief Fire Marshal Lynn. Mr. Lynn and his team have an extremely important and difficult job. His responsibility is to plan for worst-case scenarios. And we not only respect that, we believe it's a critical part of safety preparedness. However rare, incidents he referenced in areas like Scottsdale, Arizona, and Moss Landing, California, are exactly the types of situations emergency responders must be prepared for. Our responsibility as developers and operators is to prioritize the safety of our communities and staff. That's why we design projects so that those scenarios are extremely unlikely, and work closely with local emergency responders to help ensure they're prepared to act swiftly and effectively as possible. Before engaging with the community, we understood that previous industrial safety incidents, such as a chemical fire, could shape concerns. First off, we respect those concerns 100% and have dedicated the substantial time this community deserves to listen and educate. During outreach and open houses, we have addressed safety questions, directly emphasizing their proposed BESS facility is fundamentally different from a chemical plant due to its purpose and materials on site. We remain available to the community in this capacity and hope to be a resource wherever helpful. Just in regards to BESS as being a proven technology, at our first 2 open houses, fire safety was the #1 question we received from residents. In addition to our previous educational efforts, we also want to emphasize that battery storage is not an experimental technology. Today, grid storage battery units operate safely in communities across the U.S. and around the world. It's expanding. There's an expanding presence right here in the state of Georgia. Georgia Power has, I think, 5 construction projects with, I think, over 700 megawatts are expected to come online this year in 2026. The industry continues to expand because utilities and grid operators recognize storage as essential infrastructure for grid strengthening and reliability. Out of the many utility scale projects globally, only a very small percentage of facilities have self-reported unit failures, and newsworthy incidents occurred at facilities that were designed and installed before modern safety standards were fully implemented or are attributable to poor installation or operations. Today, modern energy storage systems operate under significant modern national safety standards, including NFPA 855 and UL 9540. Mr. Lynn alluded to those. Facilities incorporate multiple layers of protection. First, there's 24/7 monitoring by a remote operations center, advanced battery control systems that continuously monitor temperature and performance, and built-in fire detection systems. In short, these units are hawk-eyed and are strictly observed to help identify and react to risk well ahead of a potential incident. The design itself supports safety should an incident occur. There is substantial engineering space between units to help fire propagation. I believe that was a question. A differentiating factor from those larger incidents, such as Moss Landing and McKinnon. Most importantly, as the project's design advances, a detailed emergency response plan will be included so that if a potential risk does arise, it can be cohesively, efficiently, and effectively responded to by the appropriate authorities' coordination with local fire departments. We have been and will continue coordinating closely with local emergency responders throughout construction and operations to ensure preparedness in an unlikely event of an emergency. Other questions we received from the community centered on environmental impact. This facility produces no air emissions, no harmful EMFs, no wastewater discharge, requires no continuous water use, and includes stormwater controls and landscape screening consistent with the county standards. Another topic that's been raised is our relation to data centers. For one, we are not a data center. We're not associated with the data center. We're a standalone battery energy storage facility. Differences, data centers consume electricity to power technology infrastructure. A battery energy storage does not consume electricity. It stores power and releases it when needed. It does not create demand and can help offset peak demand created by data centers and other high energy users. As electricity demand grows, including from population growth, digital infrastructure, and other economic development, battery storage is one of the key tools utilities use to manage that growth responsibility. It reduces peak strain, helps avoid costly infrastructure upgrades, provides rapid backup support, and offset demand spikes that might otherwise require additional resources. Finally, I know I'm short on time, and I hope I get additional questions on all things BESS and fire safety, but just from Treaty Oaks' perspective, we're a long-term owner-operator of these facilities. We're not a short-term developer that's in and out. We develop these with the purpose of owning and operating these in all of our communities. We plan to remain engaged and have open lines of communication and to be responsible corporate neighbors. We fully understand that trust is not built overnight. We hope to have set a foundation for intentional public outreach to date. We've held 2 open houses, mailed out 8,000 postcards to community members, conducted a door-knocking campaign, made phone calls, have made multiple sponsorships of local community events, advertised in the newspaper, and ensured that as much as possible our materials were provided in English and Spanish versions. We respectfully request your approval and appreciate your time and consideration. We also hope to answer any questions that you all have We have a team of internal and external experts, and hope we can do that. So thank you again for your time.
Okay.
I have questions. You mentioned the other communities. Where are these communities?
I believe those in Georgia, Macon and Bibb County, I believe were two. I think there's.
Well, that's the same county.
Sorry.
Macon, Bibb.
Bibb County, it's 765 megawatts. It was a recent announcement from Georgia Power at the end of 2025. Blanking on the names of the other counties, but there's 4 other counties. I promise if you Google it, they'll come up.
Because that's important to me, because I want to know if there are similarities, like how do you pick these counties?
Georgia Power also issued an RFP, a request for, I believe, 500 megawatts of battery storage that they're requesting to help the grid. So there's been a lot of activity from Georgia Power of kind of the need for battery energy storage in the state to support, ongoing power growth. A lot of that's driven by a lot of data center demand, strain on the grid, and battery energy storage projects are helping reduce that.
I'm just curious because there are 159 counties. You said 4, so how do you pick? And Macon,
there's 5 separate counties.
Macon and Rockdale, totally different population. Well, kind of different.
Colleton, I believe, was another.
That county.
Sorry. I'll have to get back to you.
Charlton, maybe, or is it South Georgia, North Georgia? I mean, it'd be helpful.
If I could check my phone for 2 seconds, I could get back to you.
I'm just curious
Sure.
as to how the locations are chosen.
Okay, after you share that information, we'll go ahead and continue because we still have a public hearing.
Talbot County, Twiggs County, Cherokee County.
So you guys Georgia Power put out an RFP that you responded to. Therefore, your answer in RFP said Georgia Power put out a need for RFP for this particular area, and that's why.
Sure. So we actually are in ongoing discussions with a local EMC energy management company on an offtake agreement. So who we're selling the power to might not be Georgia Power. Our interconnection agreement of where our power is going directly to the grid is with Georgia Power. So there's an interconnection agreement that's essentially our power going onto the grid. So the Georgia Power substation's right across the street from our project area. Georgia Power did release the RFP as well for additional battery storage, but we are talking to another EMC about selling our power to them.
The other counties that you name is not within metropolitan areas, right? That county's the only one that's in the metro area, and it's kind of populated. So I was just wondering.
Cherokee could claim to be in the metro area.
I don't think it falls within.
I don't know if ARC considers Cherokee.
I don't think so. Atlanta Regional Commission I don't think so. Not yet. I don't think so. But I just want it's just. And you said in your presentation you were supplying hospitals, schools. So you're not supplying data centers?
No, our power is going directly to Georgia Power. The way that the power gets dispersed through Georgia Power's grid is supporting everything, right? So we're not directly providing power to the data center as like a separate agreement that our battery storage is connected to this. We're going directly into the utility, and the utility is sending it.
And I'd like to say that, so Cherokee County is part of what Atlanta Region Commission considers the 11 metro counties.
Right.
Based on Google.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any more questions? Okay.
Any questions on?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll open it for a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Okay, we have the list?
Yep, I do.
Okay.
Yes. So we have Robert Hughes, in favor, and Chris Wood in favor.
Hello, how are you today? My name is Robert Hughes. I serve the community in a couple capacities. One, I serve with Restoration Storehouse Center on 1400 Parker Road. And I didn't intend to speak today, but I'm speaking in favor because of the direction of the need to relieve stress on the grid. In addition to that, the families that we serve, we support utility assistance. And we are always trying to find ways to reduce those costs. As I've explored this type of system, grid-wide, it's intended to help reduce those costs long-term. And so as I thought about that work and the work that needs to go forward to support families, that was one of the reasons why I am in favor of that project coming forward. In addition, we also had an opportunity to engage with this company, host a event at Restoration Storehouse in the way of education. And that was an opportunity for me to learn more about the fire safety, some of the ways in which those things impact the families directly. And so with that, I personally think that there's a need for that to continue to go forward here in this county. One of the other areas include long-range planning. As I began to do the personal exploration and looking at ways in which families and neighbors can sustain themselves, the grid, as we are all learning more about it, I say as I'm learning more about, the need for reliability focuses in on the very things that impacts the families that I serve. If the grid goes down, then we have a significant medical condition that takes place if medicine begins to expire, if refrigeration is out for a period of time. When we most recently went through the the weather extreme issue with the cold weather, we received several calls from people who were in danger of not being able to have appropriate medicine because of failure of electricity. And so as we began to explore as a community the things that we are in need of, I believe that this is a solution in that process and a step forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Commissioners, good evening. My name is Chris Wood. I live at 485 Kingswood Lane in Atlanta. I am not here personally to tweak you one way or the other. I represent Snapping Shoals EMC. I'm their Vice President of Economic Affairs and External Affairs. We are the EMC that has been having early conversations with this battery energy storage unit. I love it that the community is engaged. I heard a lot of questions earlier about the data centers, and I think they have been very absent about being present in the community and talking about what they do. Been very impressed with Treaty Oak. They have had several public meetings. They have engaged in the community and are trying to do all they can to answer legit questions by the community. What I did want to do tonight was to talk about some of the things that benefits that this would bring to us. You hear a lot about grid stability and grid resiliency. You will see more of these units start to pop up all over the state. Georgia Power is investing heavily in these. All of the EMCs collectively are doing that, and you'll have the electric cities as well doing that. There's a lot of solar down in Georgia that generates power. The sun shines during the middle of the day. Middle of the day is not a great time for electric usage. Our peaks are in the mornings, they're in the evenings when everybody gets home, or they're on very cold days, or they're on very hot days. So these battery storage units actually allow the energy from the solar facilities to be stored, and then we can use them at other times. One of the things that I really like about it, nobody in here is happy with their electric bills. We get a ton of that at Snapping Shoals, and we are one of the lowest cost providers in Georgia. We still get a lot of complaints. A lot of that is tied to peak usage. The more you're using at peak times, the more you spend on that. So if you can use facilities like this to run when you're in peak times, you're buying less on the open market, or you're using less, and you actually run this battery down, and it's kind of an arbitrage. It helps us spend less money to purchase electricity we need, which means our bills to y'all are lower. You'll find the same thing from Georgia Power and all of the other industries as well. It also helps with infrastructure deferral. You've got this battery in your backyard and you can use it. It helps you from having to build extra substations sometimes or do infrastructure updates and other things along those lines. I think that's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. Can I answer any questions for y'all?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else in favor?
That's all I have signed up for in favor, so now we'll move to opposition.
Opposition, yes.
Okay. Let's see. Paul, do you want to go ahead and speak? Yeah, you're signed up.
Afternoon again. I just have a couple of things. The first, I guess in the 49 years since I've been practicing law, I've had several occasions to deal with corporations seeking benefits from government entities. It's been my experience that promises made to get benefits are very rarely kept. The fact that they, I guess either MMM or the battery energy storage system, they may now only be saying they're going to use X amount of this property, and the rest of it's going to be dog trails and hiking trails and swimming pool. Unless that property is deeded to the county in perpetuity, it's not going to be dog trails. I can guarantee it. And the other thing that I just wrote down that I can't read my writing, the battery place has no connection with the data center. I don't believe in coincidences. As an attorney at 49 years, no. When you build or apply for a battery place next to a data place at the same time in the same location, to say there's no connection, I won't say what we used to say in the Navy, but it's less than truthful. From history, when you build one of these battery energy storage systems, because of the risk, homeowners insurance goes up and the property values go down. That's historical because of the crazy danger that these battery centers produce. Zurasol owned the property before this Michigas began. I don't know why they did it. We don't know now how many lithium-ion batteries they're going to have. And that's relevant for the danger that those batteries pose. The more batteries you have, the higher the danger. If everything worked perfect, like the battery people say, all the precautions, they wouldn't need corroboration with the fire departments. They just wouldn't. Well, we've got methods to keep this place from catching on fire, so we don't need to talk to the fire department. But they do. As to the risk of fire, I have not heard anything about additional training or additional equipment that's going to be required based upon the number of batteries they have there by the fire departments. Some of you may recall we had, I think, 3 major fires at a chemical plant here within the last 10 years. I think 2009 was the first one. It took a couple days to put the most recent one out, and I think there was an evacuation of over 1,000 people here because of that fire. The risk of fire and the emissions of the gases is the major issue that I have. When lithium-ion batteries burn, they emit toxic gases, the worst of which is hydrogen fluoride that causes severe respiratory damage to humans. They also emit carbon monoxide, methane, ethane, benzene, hydrogen chloride, cyanide, and hydrogen, which is a risk of explosion. They're very difficult to extinguish. And I think two of the most recent fires at lithium-ion battery places was May 15th of 2024 in California that burned for 7 days before they could put it out. There was a second one on January the 16th of 2025 that required the evacuation of over 1,200 people. Safety plans were in place when both of those fires took place. Fire departments were available in both of those fires when they took place. This is a danger to everyone who lives in Rockdale County, depending upon which way the wind is blowing. They're my neighbors, some of them. One who has COPD was greatly affected by the last fire they had at the pool supply place. I don't know how much of the energy produced by the battery factory is going to the data center, but that's the main purpose of them being here together. If the data center loses power, the battery energy storage system provides it for them. They got to have cables and wires going from one place to the other, which is why these two properties are next to each other. I was going to say a poor country lawyer, semi-retired country lawyer, still work for the county. Well, I work for the county, I don't get paid by the county. I may have been born at night, but I wasn't born last night. We don't need this. We didn't need the first one. I knew nothing about that place, notices, and to say that in this case there was a door-to-door canvas or mailings, they must have missed my place, and I'm home 7 days a week, and I'm opposed to it.
Okay, thank you. We'd like to remind everyone, please, to be mindful that we will withhold comments and make those comments to the commission. Please, so please refrain from public comments during everyone speaking. Let's respect everyone. Okay?
Okay, next we have Dr. Linda Aikens-Young.
Good evening. I am Linda Aikens-Young, and I live at 1869 Farmer Road in Conyers. Thank you. I feel like a little girl in a candy store. So many things that on your agenda that I need to partake of. I am here and I am opposed to items 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, I understand that 4 through 7 is not actually on the agenda tonight, but the comments that I have to make are the same for all 3. I'm a lifelong resident and taxpayer here in Rockdale County, and I've lived on Farmer Road my entire life, and I've lived at 1869 for the last 56 years. I'm hesitant about speaking this evening because in recent years, Rockdale County elected officials have shown very little concern for the well-being of its residents. Now, clarification, this board is not elected, they're appointed, so that comment does not apply to them. Our leadership has, through their actions, shown that industry, no matter what kind, data centers, multifamily housing, truck stops, service stations, warehouses, etc., 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 is more deserving of getting what they request at the expense of lifelong citizens and taxpayers. Allowing the extreme number of these developments is doing nothing but infringing on Rockdale County residents and pushing us out of the communities that we've called home our entire lives. No consideration that to us residents, our homes are sacred and hold generational memories. I currently and have for 56 years resided on the property where my paternal grandmother lived most of her adult life. She always told me as a little girl that she wanted me to build a house on her lot, and that's exactly what I did. In recent months, DC Block Data Center development was approved by the zoning and commissioners. DC Block Data Center is being constructed adjacent to my neighbors and across the street from where my husband and I reside. Acquisitions, which is the other company that's up for a data center, that totals 262 acres, is asking you to approve rezoning, will block us in on the left. DC Block is on the right. The land they're wanting to acquire, is on the left, and we sit right there in the middle. Not to mention that the battery company is just right down the street. Okay? There are residents, there are human beings that are living in these areas. And we need support from our elected officials and our service people like your board to help protect us as citizens. The DC Block has already shaken things loose in our community. The blasting, they told us there was not very much rock, but every day there's blasting that makes you your heart jump out of your chest because you're not expecting it. And no matter how hard you try to prepare for it, it catches you off guard. Your houses shake. The things on the wall, the things on the table shake. There's no doubt in our mind that our foundations to our homes are being terribly affected. Every time I go outside or leave home, I find myself in tears or wanting to take up cussing. It hurts very deeply to see what has become our neighborhood. It looks like a war zone, and most days we feel that it is a war zone. They're blasting so severe that, and I already said that the things in our homes shake, and that they originally told us that there would be no blasting. Well, I'm here to tell you that where Acquisitions is proposing, it is nothing but rock. I think as board members, you all need to go out there and see it. It is nothing but rock. And then, of course, if Zero gets their appeal, I lost my place because I get emotional about this, okay? If their appeal is granted, then DC Block has already shaken our houses loose. Acquisitions will come and cause them to fall. And then Zurosol will burn them up. We have had to endure biolab for a number of years. We've been here for every biolab fire. We were involved in the evacuation that happened was it last year? It seems like last month, but that just recently happened. We cannot continue to survive with things as they are, okay? Most of our neighborhood we're elderly. So this has been very, very stressful for us. We are concerned about who's going to pay our counseling bills, because we're all going to need counseling before all of this construction takes place. Just as the previous speaker stated, there is no way, as my grandmother used to say, on God's green earth, that you can convince me that and the battery place are not connected, because one thrives on the other. And for them to keep telling us that is ridiculous, okay? Because as he said, they're right across the street from each other because they're supporting each other. We're concerned for our health with all of these large data centers as our neighbors. They're relatively new, but research supports that nearby residents should be concerned about health issues that they may experience. We already know the concerns about water and electric usage. And speaking of water, because the data centers use so much water, there's not going to be any water out there to put the fires out from the battery platforms. We're asking you to consider our well-being and enact a moratorium on data centers that extends further than July. Data centers and rezonings. Enough is enough, and we have had enough. Why in my community? Thank you.
Next, we have Ellen Lee.
My name is Ellen Jacques Lee. I live at 1848 Farmer Road. I have lived there for over 40 years. My husband has lived in Conyers for over 70 years, although he does not look like it. My father-in-law deeded us our land. We talk about Black legacy. We are Black legacy. He gave it to us. We have worked. We've paid taxes. We've raised children. We have grandchildren. And we live in a peaceful home and a loving and peaceful neighborhood. Now, because some billionaire somewhere decided they don't have enough money, they've decided to bring data centers and now a battery storage system to our area. We were told when the data center came, oh, they were going to bring all this revenue to Rockdale County. Our taxes were going to go down. And guess what? They went up. That didn't happen. We were told, just like the gentleman talked about, the BEST system, they were going to put walking trails and build and plant trees and have parks and recreation places for. That didn't happen. I want to ask you a few questions. The planning board, I just want to ask you a few questions. Would you want them to build this behind your house? Would you want them to build this next to your parents? Would you want them to build this next door to your children? Would you want them to go out and solicit this type of business to be in the area where your grandchildren are growing up? The two gentlemen that spoke in favor of this business, I didn't hear them say it was going to be in their backyard. I went to AI and asked for some reasons we should not have this battery storage system in our area. A lot of what I found the gentleman representing the fire department talked about: uncontrollable fire risk, toxic emissions, safety hazards, proximity and density to schools and parks and houses, environmental concerns, quality of life. When you reach 72, you're looking for quality of life. There's going to be increased heavy truck traffic, noise, and they operate 24/7. But in all fairness, when I looked for the cons, I went back and researched the pros. Okay, what benefit could I get from having this in my backyard? Best said, your electric bill will be lowered. Best said that. Best is the battery energy storage system. But I didn't hear any consumers say that. That's their propaganda. Not a benefit to me. Backup electricity. You heard them say that. How many of you have had outages that last more than a few hours? A couple of days at most. Why should we bear the risk for providing backup energy for who knows where? We don't need backup power. So where is it going to be going? To those data centers that just happen to be on the other side of my house? We've already been sold a pig in the poke, as the old folks say, with the data center. We experience explosions every day, as Dr. Young said. We can't sit outside because of the noise. I'm in my golden years. I should be able to go sit out in the backyard. We had to contact the sheriff's department because drones were flying over our house. Instead of taking on part of the tax burdens, we have had a record increase in taxes. So where is their tax money going? Now, once again, I'm coming back to the pig in the blanket. I was on a meeting with Rockdale, with one of these companies wanting to talk to the community, and the gentleman said, you know, the commissioners have been saying we are on a data center alley. They called us Data Center Alley. When I questioned that, the gentleman started laughing, and he said, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Well, maybe he shouldn't have. But it sparked something in me. What are our elected officials doing? I'll end now. I assume that's what that is. Yes. I'll end. But I do want to say, we need to, and you're the Planning Commission, we need to know why we are attracting in Rockdale County these type of industries and these type of businesses that nobody else in Georgia wants and nobody else even in the United States wants. You hear them protesting this all over the United States. You shouldn't put them in your backyard. You shouldn't put them on your farm. You shouldn't put them in your subdivisions. And please, I respectfully request you decline this so you don't put them in mine.
Chair Peterson, so we ran out of time for opposition comment, but you can allow more time. It looks like we still have 1, 2, 3, 4 more speakers. So you can allot more time for the opposition, and then also Treaty Oak, you have 6 minutes remaining, so you can rebuttal as well after comment.
Okay, that additional time will be an additional 10 minutes per speaker?
No, you get to decide. So the time is collectively, it's based off of each case. So since they had 2 cases, they got 20 minutes of opposition or 20 minutes of favor during the public hearing. So we've ran out of that 20 minutes, but you can elect to have more time if you'd like to give the speakers more time.
Well, I'll go ahead and give them more time because we should hear everybody speak, so I think that's fair. So
Okay.
I think
Do you want to do another 10 minutes? That'll be collectively for the next 4 speakers.
Yes, and
Okay.
that's to be understood as 10 minutes collectively.
Correct.
So we can go
Yes.
ahead and do that. Okay.
So next we have Eugene Nixon.
Good evening. Thank you for this small amount of time. My name is Eugene Nixon. I live at 3309 Quarter Horse Lane, Conyers, Georgia 313. I'm also a pastor at an address of 1908 Rockbridge Road in Conyers, Georgia. I'm here to be against rezoning for the BESS and also for the data centers. If you look at Rockbridge Road, and now the BESS is trying to go Irwin, which is off of Rockbridge, you also will have about 50 to 75 yards from our church, another meeting about a data center. And then if you go all the way down to Rockbridge, and you already have another one that's already built. So you would have 4 to 5 buildings right in the proximity of communities. Not way out in the woods somewhere, but in communities where people live. And I'm against it because I think it's too much buildings in this small area. I don't know why they come to this area. I've heard a lot of things, but I just think this is the straw that's going to break the camel's back. And I think as the planning, I wish you would, please allow the fire department to present again, because he made my points of all of the things that they don't know that could happen, that may happen. The other thing is, what happens when these do not are successful, these big buildings that are eyesores? What happens when they close them down? Do they have a reclamation process to do something with the buildings and the land, or they just going to be vacant? Our taxes, as they already forestated, they're going to go up. The noise level of the data centers, what will happen with that noise level 24/7? I just think it's bad, and they chose a bad area, because I will be back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have LaVonda Clarington.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Dr. LaVonda Clarington. I'm going to defer most of my time to Stephanie, but I would just like for you all to please listen to your citizens. I've been to a lot of these meetings, and we talk, we oppose, we tell you why, and then you vote for. And I'm just hoping and praying that you all please listen to your citizens, the people who are going to be impacted by this every day.
Thank you.
And next is Stephanie Thomas.
Good evening.
My name is Stephanie Thomas. I am a resident for almost 20 years as of April, be 20 years in Rockdale. I am very concerned in the interest of revenue and profit, developers who do not live here, drink the water, breathe the air, have been allowed to come into our community, make their money, and leave us here to deal with the consequences. Every day, I'm a nurse for 33 years. I've worked at Rockdale Medical Center. Every day, I watch people living and dying with the preventable environmental related illness. My background is also in public health and environmental health. Research shows battery energy storage system facilities pose risk to water consumption, potential soil and water contamination, toxic fumes if anything happens. Biolab has already proved that to us 4 times. Possible fire hazards. Our local ecosystems are very important. The soil, the water, the wildlife are all important, and guess what? So is human life. As an RN, I've watched how environmental hazards impact chronic disease. No company for profit will tell you about possible health hazards 10, 20, 30 years in the future. Their goal is to get what they want. They will always tell you the upside. The people have voiced their concerns and disapproval, and we need our elected and our appointed officials to listen to the people who live here and will continue to live here. We are expecting you to consider us and the next generations. We care nothing about these people telling you whatever they're telling you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the last speaker, Mr. Arnold. You, sir? I'm sorry, if you could state your name again.
All right. There was 2 things been discussed today.
Oh, I'm sorry,
One's
sir.
the
Could you
data
please-
center.
Can you state your name?
My name's Carl Blaschke. I live in Lake Capri Estates. One thing is the data center, one thing is the battery. They're 2 separate animals. Now, there's some things that have been brought up here. Number 1, the battery center needs to work with the fire department to make sure it's safe. Number 2, make sure that they aren't interconnected, which I can't see any interconnection, because battery center is going to go straight into Georgia Power, and then Georgia Power is going to do the battery center. The thing about the battery center, which I'm approved of, which I'm not approved of the data center, the battery centers, we have, if our electricity goes out, we have a battery right here in Rockdale County, rather than one 100 miles away in Macon or 70 miles away in Cherokee. We have a battery to keep our power going. Now, as for the increased battery use here, we have two things. We have electric cars, and we have new subdivisions, like behind BJ's. You know, this is going to happen. We have all these plants going on. We're going to need electricity. But the thing is, having a battery center right here, so if we do lose our electricity, and we all need electricity, if we do have it, it's a mile away instead of 100 miles away. Yes, the battery will go other places, but at least here, and we need to put that also in the whole idea of having, hey, take care of Rockdale County first. You put a battery center in here, fine. Take care of Rockdale County first, then take care of other parts. But if it's 100 miles away, well, we may get electricity, we may not. And our grid is being pushed. And having, backup here in Rockdale County would be a good thing. Do these things, the health? Yes, agreed. Yeah, we just have to make sure it is safe. And the Rockdale County Fire Department has to work with these people and to make sure it is safe. Now, these things that have been brought up. That was a long time, that was built a long time ago, and it wasn't safe. All right, we need to make sure that they're going to be safe. But just to have our battery right here in our county, rather than 100 miles away in Macon or 70 miles away in Cherokee County. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
And now Treaty Oak, they have 6 minutes left. They can choose to rebuttal.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Josh Cherry. I'm representing Treaty Oak Clean Energy. I'm a proud Georgia Tech graduate. I will add my name to the list of people that are not typically public speakers. I am Senior Manager of Energy Storage Systems, which means I'm usually a desk jockey. I first want to thank the community members for their earnest and honest comments. This is an important process for your voices to be heard so that we can get the best outcomes for this community. And by the same token, my only goal in standing up here is to just tackle a list of items I heard from community members and otherwise where I felt my expertise as a technical leader in energy storage could, for lack of a better term, set the record straight. That's all I want to do here. There was a concern brought up about the number of batteries being unknown at our system and leading to large-scale fires. However, as part of a code-driven hazard mitigation analysis, also known as an HMA, we will need to know the exact quantity of batteries that are at site. That same HMA will be used to inform an ERP, an emergency response plan, that we collaboratively work with the fire department. Furthermore, that same ERP will be dovetailed into training, collaborative training between ourselves, the fire department, and other emergency responders that will run through as many scenarios as we can imagine for this system. That will include site walks during construction as well as tabletop exercises with the fire department and an ongoing refresher for the 20-year life of this battery. I also heard concerns about toxic emissions in the rare event of a fire. In all cases where there has been air quality monitoring for a battery fire event, the air quality monitoring has shown that the concentration of the relevant gases are low enough at the site boundary to be considered below hazardous levels by OSHA or NIOSH. I also heard references to some very large-scale fires. For example, the fire chief correctly brought up the Moss Landing fire in California. Large-scale fires, newsworthy fires, have been older indoor systems. Moss Landing, for example, was tens of thousands of square feet, and so the fire was allowed to expand to consume the entire building. Our system contains 20-foot containers, and that's about all. So in the rare event of a fire, as justified by the UL 9540A test method, we have high certainty that a fire would not expand beyond a single container. Or put in other words, these systems are not designed to fail, but in the event that they do, they are designed to fail safely and manageably. Another thing I want to reiterate, though I don't know how far it will take us, is that we have no relation to any data centers. We are not a data center developer. We're seeking to sell our power to local EMCs that serve your community. We are not striking any deals with any data centers for this project. I also heard some reference to walking trail, dog park, etc. That was an idea that we had for the undeveloped acreage of this site. However, in the course of our 2 open houses and other conversations, it was made very clear that the folks in this community don't want any sort of walking trail or dog park in that area. And so at this time, that plan has been scrapped. And that was before tonight even. Also heard reference to traffic and noise. The construction of any project will bring truck traffic. There's no 2 ways around that, and I can't speak anything to dispel that. However, during the normal operation of this system, we perform noise studies that can be justified after the operation of the system to make sure that the ambient noise of our nearest neighbors does not increase anything above a negligible amount. Also saw reference to a big building. That might have been a data center comment, but just for reference, these containers are like shipping container size. They're pretty small. They'll be hidden by vegetative buffer. Also heard reference to what's going to happen after. As part of our development process, we are required to create a decommissioning plan and post bond for this project. So there will be detailed plans of what will happen to this facility either after the useful life or if something were to happen before then, to make sure that this site is restored to the best of our ability to the right as we found it. Also saw reference to water consumption. During normal operation, this site does not consume any water. In fact, there won't even be like a running potable water system on site. It's fully self-contained. The thermal management systems are also self-contained. This is not a user of water. And finally, there was some reference also on the topic of water to runoff and contamination. Just like any other project, we are required to run through our paces with, it's the Georgia Stormwater. Sorry, I'm not an environmental person, but there's some pretty strict permits that we need to get related to stormwater and runoff to ensure that any water runoff, perhaps from an unlikely event of the fire department needing to use some water for their efforts at site, that does not make it into the public water systems. So that was just a list of the items that I wanted to address. I hope you'll appreciate my comments as I've appreciated everybody else's, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You can close the public hearing now.
Okay, if there's no more comments, we will close the public hearing at this time. So now we would have a discussion. Is there any unreadiness on this before we vote? Okay. Do I have a motion on REZ 2025-13?
I'll make a motion that we deny the proposed amendment for REZ 2025-13.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, so you second on the motion to deny the proposed amendment REZ 2025-13?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor state by saying aye. All that oppose, nay.
Nay.
The motion carries. The proposed amendment has been denied.
I'm sorry, Chairman Peterson, can we vote that again because no one said yay when you said
Okay.
In favor? So if you're in favor of denying,
Yes.
then please say yay.
Okay. So let me do that again. Do we have a motion on REZ 2025-13?
Yes, I'll make a recommendation to deny REZ 2025-13. My denial is based on the impact it has on the existing community, the unknowns, things that they may have to questions and issues that need to address with the fire department. And based on those three things and the impact of all those things, I make a motion to deny REZ 2025-13.
Okay. I'll second.
To deny.
Okay. So the motion is opposed or denied. The motion for that denial is passed.
Gotta vote.
So let's do
Okay,
the vote.
all in
Yep,
favor,
so all
say.
in favor.
All in favor, I'm sorry. All in favor of the opposed amendment, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All that, any nays? The motion carries for a denial. Okay. Do I have a motion on FLUM 2025-70?
07.
I make a motion to deny FLUM 2025-07,
Okay.
the proposed amendment.
Second.
Okay. We'll have a vote at this time. All in favor of the motion for the denial of the proposed amendment, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose, nay. The motion carried for the denial of the proposed amendment of FLUM 2025-7. Motion passed. Okay, the final three items that are text amendments related to updates in Rockdale County Unified Development Ordinance. Staff will present the items together, and we will hold a public hearing before the commission considers on each item. I'll ask the staff to report, the staff report at this time.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jessica Paulette, Project Manager with Planning and Development. So you have three text amendments on your agenda tonight. Text 2026-01, Text 2026-02, and Text 2026-03. All three of these amendments have to do with our rewrite of our Unified Development Ordinance. But the first two items, staff is going to propose a withdrawal of those two items. When the Planning Commission didn't meet quorum in February, we were on a track to phase adoption of our UDO, but without that quorum in February, it skewed the timeline, so we are now bringing the full UDO, which is text 2026-03, before you for recommendation to the Board of Commissioners.
Okay.
So for item R10, you can open the public hearing. We don't have a presentation because we're asking that it's been withdrawn. So again, this was for phased adoption of the UDO, and so we want to withdraw that text amendment 1 and 2 and replace those with text amendment 2026-03.
Okay.
Okay, so.
So I'll now have an open public hearing for item R12, text 2026-03.
Let's start with R10.
Okay.
Yeah, item R10. Yep.
Okay.
So you can start a public hearing for that one.
Okay.
Yep. But if there are no comments on that, since it's being withdrawn, you can close the public hearing.
Okay, since there's no comments, we'll go ahead and close the discussion on R10. I'll open for discussion on item R11.
We have to vote on R10 first, though, right? Before we go
For the
on.
public hearing, we'll take all three items as a public
Okay.
hearing, and then next we'll do the vote.
Okay.
So if you have comments on text 2026-02.
If there's no comments, we'll close comments for R11. Okay? The next item is R12, text 2026-03.
Okay, and for this item, we do have a presentation because this is the item that we'd like you to move forward with recommendation to the BOC. So prior to that hearing, I'll let our director, Brandon White, give you guys a presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, members of the board.
Good evening.
Okay, and so Jessica took you through some of the specifics, and so this will replace the previous two versions that you saw and what we have online. And so this will basically start the process for the next round of review for the Unified Development Ordinance amendments. And so the purpose of the UDO update, as you can see on the screen, it will include public engagement. Obviously, this meeting, there'll be several other meetings that we'll have over the next few months. Discussions from staff's point of view and other members of the administration over the past several years of things in the code that needed to be updated, inconsistencies, conflicts, things of that nature that need to be updated. Guidance from the Board of Commissioners. We also have a housing study that's been in the process. Have a town hall on that next week. Be there, everybody. Also, comprehensive plan from 2023 informs this process. Changes to best practices, modernization, industry innovation, changes to state law, changes in case law through the court system. All of those things inform this process on why we need to update the regulations. And so essentially what we do during this process, from the comprehensive plan, through the discussions, through the meetings, we take the visioning discussions, ideas, thoughts, we transform those into concepts, and on the back end of the process, we create the actual ordinances that contain the regulations. And so that gets us from theory to the tangible products that you see in the community. Houses, the buildings, the commercial, all of those things. And so that's essentially how this works. You take all those ideas, we put it through this funnel called the adoption process, and when we're done with this process, we have a body of regulation that will guide development for Rockdale County. And so I'll just hit on some of the highlights of the UDO update. I won't go through any individual specific changes to the ordinance, but the ordinances are online on our planning website. You can see those. Rockdale UDO is our specific website. It contains each draft, so as we make changes, as we modify the document, those drafts will be online for public consumption. So what we've done so far, we've heard through the housing study process, through the comp plan process, and other community engagement meetings, the desire for a diversity of housing types. And so we've addressed that in the code. We'll get into the specifics in a moment. The code will be reorganized. So we're changing the formatting, trying to make it easier to understand, easier to follow. And then just modernizing some of the terms, the definitions contained in the ordinance. It's been several years since it's been updated, so a lot's changed. Just think about what's changed in the world over 15 to 20 years. Same thing with the code. We're looking at the zoning districts that we have. We are proposing to remove some districts, specifically the R2 zoning district. Some of our mixed-use districts, we're looking at removing those or replacing them. Some of the office districts, we're also looking at taking some of those away, consolidating them into one office institutional zoning district. We're also proposing to introduce a couple of new zoning districts. Conservation Village, which kind of is an attempt to replicate a conservation subdivision where you cluster the homes and you try to preserve as much open space and natural resources as possible on the land. We are also looking at the introduction of a plan unit development, and we'll talk about that right now. And so this is a customary practice around the nation in planning and zoning world. And so what the Plan Unit Development Zoning District does, it's a floating zone. It doesn't exist anywhere until it's approved. And so it allows for innovative plans, development ideas that may be beyond the scope of the zoning regulations that we have. It may not fit into a specific zoning district, and so this gives the developer, the applicant, the opportunity to customize a zoning development plan that may work for that particular development type. It would go through the same process as any other rezoning request. It would come to Planning Commission, it would go to the board, first read, second read, public hearing process. So just trying to add some flexibility to the code to account for things that just don't fit beyond the scope. Making some updates to the use table. So for those who may be familiar, typically you'll see one big use table in any zoning ordinance that contains all the allowed uses, what's allowed, what's permitted by right, what may be subject to a special use permit, etc. What we've done now is taken the table and we broke it into smaller sections. So there'll be a use table for agricultural uses, a table for residential uses, and then a table for non-residential uses and our mixed-use development options. For those of you who have been in planning circles or been to housing studies and similar meetings, you've heard the term missing middle housing. So if you look on the far left, you see single-family detached. And so if you think about it from the 60s to the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, that's been the predominant housing type across the country, single-family detached home. Look on the far right, you see a stereotypical apartment complex. And so around the 2008, 2009, we had the recession. Everything went from the far left to the far right. So you saw this explosion in the construction of multifamily. And so during that time period, the things that you see in the middle are what's been missing from the process. Duplexes, cottage homes, you see townhomes are on the rise these days, live-work units. When you think about, there used to be a store owner, and above the store, that's where the owner would live. Those kinds of arrangements. And so what we're seeking to do is reintroduce some of that into the zoning ordinance for development. And so this is what we have, tiny homes. As you can see the illustrations on the left, clustered around a common open space, similar concept for cottage style developments. And so these can fit in neighborhoods where there are vacant lots that haven't been used for some period of time. This may be an option. Circumstances where people want to live in smaller housing arrangements, less maintenance, what have you, this may be an option. So once again, we're not saying that it's preferred or not preferred. We're just giving housing options, a diversity of options for folks to choose from in the community. These are some illustrations of what that looks like in reality. Additionally, we heard a lot about the desire for accessory dwelling units, and so we've included that into the code with some updated regulations regarding the character of it. We're requiring that the accessory dwelling unit mimic the primary home on the property. Doesn't have to be exact, but a similar character on the site. But this, once again, another option for housing diversity in the community for additional family members, kids, seniors, etc. Just another option. We've looked at some of our public and institutional civic uses, so some things the code will address. Daycare uses, both for children and adults in residential and commercial settings. So we wanted to account for both of those. Healthcare services, and then we also wanted to refine and double check our regulations as it relates to places of assembly. And so we're required to treat all places of assembly the same. Whether it's a mosque, whether it's a church, whether it's a temple, they have to be treated the same way. So we have to make sure that that's reflected in the code. Commercial, just to touch on a few commercial things, just the introduction of brew pubs, distilleries, wineries. I'm sure you all have been to them in a variety of different places, and so we're just making those uses available as potential options here in Rockdale. Also the desire for food trucks, mobile food vendors, and so we'll have provisions in the code that address those as a single truck or food truck parks, all of those different kinds of arrangements. Industrial uses, we've heard the need to address some of the more intense uses, mining activity, quarry activities, very labor intensive, very intense activities, and so we wanted to make sure we had supplemental regulations that mitigate some of the impacts that come along with those. And then obviously a lot of the discussion that we had here tonight regarding utility services, be that battery storage, be it data centers and other similar uses. We also heard a lot about the desire for architectural standards for residential structures within the community, and so we proposed some updates there. And so in the top right, you see traditional 90s style development there, 80s, 90s style. And so what we would propose is what you see in the lower right-hand corner. So different kinds of materials, different fenestration, recesses, those kinds of things to spruce up our architectural features on residential properties. Same thing for multifamily, same thing for commercial, industrial, just trying to get away from the monotonous old school designs, require some brick, stone materials, and change the look of new development as they come online in the community. Let's see. Additionally, we also are taking a look at our zoning procedures. So things like the Planning Commission meeting, the order of rezoning applications, to make sure that they comply with state law requirements, but then to also just based on how our observations, the feedback that we've received about the processes, where we can tweak some things and make the process better for everybody. So we'll touch on procedures as part of this process and enforcement measures. So we have a section on enforcement, code enforcement. And so we'll make revisions to it as necessary. One thing we're proposing is to include a multifamily inspection program. So we want to prevent slum housing from becoming a greater issue in the county. And so this process would set up a process by which we have inspections, annual inspections of multifamily properties. And so we can stay ahead of the process with making sure the property maintenance things are being taken care of. Hopefully they'll prevent problems on the back end. So this is the updated process and timeline. Tonight being March 12th. So the next meeting will be the March 26th Board of Commissioners zoning public hearing right here in this building, 6 p.m. So it'll follow a similar cadence to tonight. So we need to remove the two previous agenda items for the UDO update, replace it with this third one, and then we'll move on to the board on April 14th to dispense with those things, and then to refer the item back to Planning Commission for the actual adoption process. So this will come back in May for actual consideration. So we're gonna give you some more time, do your homework. There'll be a quiz and everything, so y'all need to be ready. And so it'll come back to the commission on May 14th, May 28th back to the board, and then our plan is hopefully for adoption on June 9th. And then that gives us a couple weeks to do some of the administrative things that we need to do internally, and then the UDO will take effect on July 1st of 2026. So that is where we are. This is our website. If you want additional information, if you would like to read the draft, if there's anything that's near and dear to your heart, you can be found on this page. As we make updates, we will update this page with those drafts so it'll be available to the public. So with that, I will conclude my comments. Are there any questions?
Nope.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Staff
No.
recommends.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you
So
got
now, Chair, you can open the public hearing
Yes.
for the text amendment 2026-03.
You read my mind. I was going to ask that. Okay. I will now open the public hearing. Anyone that speak in favor, do we have anyone in favor?
So we did have some comments that were sent by email after the advertisement of tonight's agenda. And so you all have those comments. So Chairman Peterson, you can state their names for the record. And these were not really well, I will say some of the comments were in opposition of pieces of the UDO, specifically the development and zoning regulations from Article 7.2, 7.1, and 5.2 in the new UDO.
So we do have the commenter's name here. It would be W. Kent Campbell, Developing and Zoning, Development Zoning. And I can read the comments if you want me to.
You can, yeah, that's up to you.
Okay. From W. Kent Campbell, on behalf of my family who own over 500 acres in northern Rockdale, we are very concerned and opposed to increasing the minimum lot size from 2 to 5 acres and decreasing unit densities from 0.3 to 0.2. During a town hall meeting on 2/17, no concrete reason, was provided for this change, aside from a vague reference to the current comp plan. Additionally, we were unaware that such a drastic change had been proposed, given that the county did not notify us. The current WP restrictions have been in place for over 30 years, negatively impacting landowners, landowners within the West P district. To our knowledge, no water quality issues have arisen during that period. We see no reason for the county to propose such drastic legislation, which will further diminish our property rights and land values. Okay.
And so that same comment was submitted with 3 names.
Okay, that's Ashley C. Hamlet. Okay. Campbell Sr. and the Campbell family. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, and Yule Anderson. Okay.
This comment was towards
Yule Anderson had a separate comment
Okay.
outside of the Kent family.
Okay, I can read that.
Okay.
Okay. I'm concerned that Rockdale is comparing neighboring ordinances while Rockdale is the second smallest county in Georgia. What works for a more successful county that has a larger population and large tax revenues may not work for Rockdale County. I also do not believe the future of agricultural land use is accurate for these properties close to I-20. Lastly, the ramping up and approval of industrial and commercial properties will harm Rockdale and make Rockdale trapped like Clayton County. What is the rationale for restricting agricultural land development? I need to see that all the language, what the thought process was in restricting agricultural land development when there is very little left in Rockdale County. Thank you. You.
Okay, and the final comment was submitted by the Data Center Coalition. It's pretty lengthy, so I don't know if you want to read this one, but it was sent in with some suggestions on data center standards to propose in the new UDO.
I
But you can state the name
Yes,
and the
I'll state the
organization.
name. This is a lot to read.
Yeah.
Okay. The name on the Data Center Coalition was Kara Bonder, Director of State Policy Data Center Coalition.
And I think that's all the comments. We didn't have anyone signed up, so you can close the public hearing.
Okay, so there's no more comments. I will close the public hearing at this time. Okay, and are there any unreadiness or discussions for this? Okay, do I have a motion on text 2026-01 in reference to the withdrawal of the application?
For 21. That's the one that we pulled out.
I make a motion to approve the withdrawal of item R10, text 2026-01.
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion. All in favor state by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, the motion carries.
I make a motion, okay, go ahead, sorry. Taking over your job.
Okay, do we have a motion for text 2026-02?
I make a motion to accept the withdrawal of item R11, text 2026-02.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Okay, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion passed. I think all of us brain dead by now. Text 2026-03, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the planning commission's proposed amendments.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marlene, can you please speak into the mic? We
Oh,
couldn't
you
hear
me?
your motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I move that the planning commission approve the proposed amendments.
Second.
Okay. All in favor on this item state by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. Okay, we'll have reports.
I just wanted to make one comment regarding the data center letter. Can it be put on the site while people can see it? Could it be on?
It'll be part of the public
Oh,
record of the
right.
minutes
Okay,
of this
thank you.
meeting. Okay, so for the reports, we did want to discuss the 2026 Planning Commission calendar. And let's get this slide. So your next meeting is scheduled as a regular meeting on April 9th, 2026 at 6 p.m. That meeting, we do not have any cases to bring before you all, but we would like to request a meeting, more of a work session for training and review of the new UDO that will be coming before you again if the BOC sends it back to you, just so that you can have another review session with it. And so we want to propose an April 9th meeting at 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. as a work session, rather than the regularly scheduled meeting at 6. So we just wanted your feedback on that. And then if there are any other dates that you see on the calendar that you know you will not be present for, we'll want to go ahead and just take note of those. And all of the other meetings are regular meetings at 6 p.m. So we can start with the April 9th meeting. Do we know if, I know I've gotten a couple of responses from folks who will be able to attend at 3 p.m. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll move that meeting to 3 p.m. on April 9th.
Yes.
Okay. And then are there any other dates that you see on the calendar right now that you know we won't be able to make ahead of time, or you can always send me emails too if you need to think about it.
Long it doesn't conflict with my birthday, we'll fine.
We'll try not to let that happen. Okay. If not, we'll leave those meetings on the calendar as regularly scheduled meetings. So our next regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting will be April 9th, 2026 at 3 p.m. for a work session and training. Yes. And that's all for the reports that we had, if you guys have anything.
Okay. If there's no further business before the Planning Commission, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Did somebody move?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I moved to adjourn this meeting tonight.
Second. Okay. All in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. This meeting is adjourned.